with the trade period over, I think it's safe to say that Hawthorn are one of the biggest winners, if not the biggest winner. Obviously, we picked up Battle in free agency and Barrass through trade, and really we gave up pick 14 and a future 4th, I believe, for Barrass, and then obviously Battle signed during free agency. But I think other than maybe the Tigers, when it comes to the draft picks, Hawthorn definitely won this off-season. So before the off-season, it was pretty obvious that Hawthorn's biggest weakness was key backs, and going into 2025, it's arguably one of our biggest strengths, I think, next to our midfielders. So the big question is going to be now is what happens lineup-wise? Like, who misses out, who's playing where? Because there's so many options, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm definitely going to do a whole separate video going into a deep dive with all the positions and what's most likely going to happen. Because realistically, it's going to be an absolute nightmare picking this team. Obviously, in a good way, but do you bench Frost / drop Frost from the team? Do you put Sicily up forward? Where do you move Weddle? Like, who's coming off the bench? Like, these are like really good problems to have, because our depth now is like it's ridiculous. When you look at, like, if you do a mock-up of the potential team next year, you've got some definite starting 18 players on the field, like 2 or 3 of them moving to the bench, and then you've got another 2 or 3 guys that are probably going to be like still top 25, but they're going to be outside the 22. So the big question is, I think, what's happening with Frost? Because do you put Frost at full back and free up Battle and Barrass to let them do their thing, or do you drop Frost, go for sort of more of a versatile backline? But they're obviously questions that the coaches have to answer going into next season, but it's going to be very interesting. Like, injury-wise, I think as well, we are absolutely covered injury-wise. I think we have about, I'd say, just off the top of my head, 4 or 5 players depth-wise that could come in and just have a pretty good impact. Just role players, like going back to the finals against the Dogs and the Power. Morrison, McGuinness and Ward, who for most of 2024 weren't in the starting 22, but came in, played their roles. They all had at least one game. I think 2 of them had 2 games of over 20 touches. And when you put it in perspective, if you have 2 to 3 guys outside the 22 that can fill in and still get you 20 touches and have a good impact just playing as a role player, like, you're absolutely set. So it's going to be a very interesting off-season, a very interesting lineup structure. It's extremely exciting as a Hawks fan. But so looking at the back line, for example, let's say we do have Frost at full back, Barrass centre half back, Amon Impey on the flanks, Sicily, Hardwick, Scrimshaw covering the pockets, or just all round general defenders. Like, I think that's 9 guys, and that's not even counting Weddle, who I think Weddle will most likely move into the midfield, maybe go centre half forward. He played a little bit forward this year, played really well when he was up forward, filled in for the ruck when he was needed. So, like, just Weddle, for example, is like a modern day genuine utility. I think he's about 6'3". He can run all day. He's quick. Like, he's so good of half back, you don't really want to move him. But in this situation, they're definitely going to have to move him, especially if Frost is guaranteed a spot at the start of the season, which I believe he is, just going off how good of a season he played last year. So, very exciting times for Hawks fans. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the 2025 positions / lineup / depth and all that. So, stay tuned to the channel when you have a look out for that video.